people not familiar with the smash Broadway musical Wicked, or The Wizard of Oz, the 1939 Judy Garland classic, or Diana Ross and Michael Jackson's The Wiz, or 1985's Return to Oz, starring Fairuza Balk, yeah, that happened, I have one question for you. What rock have you been living under? Hey, I'm Mike. I studied film, I work in TV, and I love movies. Today, we're talking about Wicked. I should start by telling you that I'm a huge fan of The Wizard of Oz, and I saw Wicked on Broadway. I was actually surprised when I was reading reviews for Wicked the movie, how many people were unfamiliar with either the Broadway musical or the 1939 film. But I get it. The Wizard of Oz is a kids' movie made over 80 years ago, and Wicked is a lavish Broadway musical. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Luckily, I speak bro. Guys, Wicked is the prequel story of The Wicked Witch of the West. It is the same story as Anakin Skywalker's transformation into Darth Vader. Don't believe me? Wicked and Star Wars have a lot more in common than you may think. Elphaba is Anakin, the chosen one, the one who will bring balance to the Force.
Absolutely remarkable.
Grande is Obi-Wan Kenobi. She's mastered the world they currently inhabit and takes Elphaba on as her project, her Padawan, if you will.
Popular. You're gonna be popular.
Both Elphaba and Anakin grow much more powerful than their masters, and eventually it overtakes them. And both know how to really work a cape. If Wicked is the Star Wars prequels, then Wizard of Oz is Episode 4, New Hope. Dorothy is Luke Skywalker. The Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion's traits are all spread out among Han Solo, Chewbacca, and C-3PO. And R2-D2? You guessed it, he's Toto. While Wicked and Star Wars both have two of the most iconic villains in cinematic history, Wicked tells the backstory way better than Star Wars, in my opinion. Truth be told, it took me a few movies to buy in that Anakin was Vader.
That's impossible!
By the end of Wicked, I am convinced Elphaba is the Wicked Witch of the West. So let's talk about Wicked the movie. The overriding theme is accepting yourself, overcoming otherness, and using your perceived weakness as a strength. But there's also a rather unsubtle fascist subplot going on within Wicked, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about it. There are more than a few nods to modern politics. For example, the Wizard, played by Jeff Goldblum, is a fraudulent con man who uses people to his benefit. But in Wicked the Broadway musical and Wizard of Oz, the Wizard is portrayed more of a hapless guy who just got in over his head.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain!
Goldblum's Wizard's a little more devious. People have been pointing out that there is a message intended for our current political climate within Wicked, but I'd like to remind people that this was written in 2003 for the stage. I really don't think they were thinking about 2024 politics when they wrote this. Oz is no stranger to political commentary, though. The Wizard of Oz was originally published in 1900 and serves as an allegory for the social, economic, and geopolitical events happening in the late 1800s. Dorothy represents America, an orphan, an immigrant, with no place to call home. The Scarecrow is our struggling agriculture. The Tin Man is our rusted industry. And the Cowardly Lion is our military that lacks the courage to fight. The Emerald City is Europe, the shining city on the hill. They have their shit together, but they have a problem, the Wicked Witch of the West, aka the Nazis. Dorothy, America, has to help the Emerald City, Europe, rid themselves of the Wicked Witch of the West, the Nazis, if she wants to get in good graces with Europe. The Yellow Brick Road is the gold standard, the thing that will guide America to prosperity. Historical fact, the U.S. formally adopted the gold standard with the Gold Standard Act of 1900, the same year The Wizard of Oz was published. If you're a movie nerd like me, you'll always be looking for the meanings. Moving on, there's something else I'd be remiss if I didn't speak about, and that's the color within Wicked. The Wizard of Oz famously went from black and white, or sepia tone, to full Technicolor. Volumes have been written on the brilliant use of color in The Wizard of Oz. But when I watched Wicked, it seemed almost, well, muted. Director John M. Chu said this was a deliberate choice. If The Wizard of Oz was Dorothy's Technicolor dream world, he wanted Elphaba's Wicked to be based in reality. Let me get this straight. He wanted a film about a witch trying to harness her powers with talking animals and flying monkeys to seem more real? Okay. Chu has said the color contrast goes up over time because that's what Elphaba brings to the world. It's true. You may have noticed at the very beginning, the colors are muted, and as the film goes on, the colors become more and more vibrant. There's a scene at the beginning, which I actually took notice of, where Glenda is addressing the residents of Munchkinland, and the colors do seem very flat. But then, by the time Elphaba and Glinda get to the Emerald City, the colors are bright and vibrant. Personally, I think the decision to tone down the colors in Wicked was a mistake. This is The Wizard of Oz, after all. Or is it? As I said earlier, the number of people unfamiliar with the original 1939 film was staggering. Could it be the filmmakers were unconcerned with how fans of The Wizard of Oz received Wicked? I don't think so. Wicked hits on both levels. It is both a faithful adaptation to the smash Broadway musical and remains true to the source material that had been ingrained in our cinematic psyches for over 80 years. I can't believe I waited this long to say that Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are stunning in their roles.
With you and I defying gravity.
My first thought was, wow, Glinda's the real witch here. As they say, a protagonist is only as good as their antagonist, and Glinda is the antagonist here. You have to hate her a little, but it's really hard to hate Ariana Grande. By the way, Glinda was always a little wicked. She's the one who said this.
You've always had the power to go back to Kansas.
She gave Dorothy the power to go home at the very beginning of The Wizard of Oz, but she still made her go to the wizard to work on his little problem. Which, please? Cynthia Erivo steals the show as Elphaba. Her vocal performances are stunning, as are Ariana Grande's. I read that 90% of the singing was done on set while they were acting. That's an impressive fact that isn't getting much attention. Typically, actors will record their singing parts first in a recording studio and then lip sync to them when they're acting on set. But Grande and Erivo are pros at singing and dancing simultaneously, and it shows. Ultimately, Wicked exceeded my expectations. I mean, I knew it was going to be good, I just didn't realize it was going to be that good. As always, thanks for watching. Film is about community, so leave your thoughts below. I love reading the comments. I'm Mike, and I love film.